Right, shall we speak to former BBC correspondent Michael Cole to get his take on all this? Michael, thank you for joining us on the show. Meghan launching a new career as a Hollywood producer. Are you surprised that she doesn't want to be the actor in all this?
Good afternoon, Emily. Good afternoon, Cameron. Yes, well, her loveliness goes on and on, doesn't it? I mean, she said she was thrilled to be back in Hollywood. Did she ever really leave? I mean, she was here very briefly as a royal duchess and couldn't wait to get via Canada back to Hollywood. And of course, this event was put on by the Hollywood Bible, Variety, the newspaper of show business. In fact, it was on a black carpet. I don't know whether that was a sign, or perhaps it was just they thought the carpet would show less from the footprints of the Manolo Blahnik shoes going up and down it. And there was a rather odd moment, I don't know when you've got it, where an aide came in and tried to usher her out of the spotlight and then sort of gave up the ghost and withdrew. But I felt, I don't know whether you got that from the interview, that the smile looked a little bit forced. And of course, she wasn't coming forward with what these great products are going to be. But she did mention, as you heard, a sense of community. Well, I don't know whether that extends to a sense of duty and loyalty and patriotism and family, but that's how she described it.
Michael, she talked about how her projects will not just make people feel good, but make people feel something, as if it's Meghan Markle and her production team's duty, perhaps. Perhaps that's where the duty comes in. She wants to make us all feel.
Well, it's all very California, isn't it? To feel you're in touch with your emotions, you know, between you and your psychiatrist and psychologist and anybody else. It's all about feelings. And she's very much tapping into that. Of course, we don't know what these things are. So far, we've had the six-parter, which Cameron and I sat through in a West End cinema not long ago, grinding our teeth. And we've had his book, Spare, but not a great deal of, quotes, product, because they love to talk about product out there. And no mention, of course, whether she would be starring. And you picked up on that very quickly, Emily. Of course, for a woman over 40 in Hollywood, there's not much of a future usually on the screen.
Gosh, harsh. I
don't agree with it.
You're probably right, Michael.
No, I think that's appalling. You have to be Dame Judi Dench to get on the screen if you're over 40, or Dame Helen Mirren. But no, I think it's appalling. But that is the truth of the matter, usually in Hollywood. So whether she has a future, but as you say, she was a bit coy about the success, or the renewed success, the renaissance of Suits. Could it be anything to do with the fact that she married a royal prince? Could her success, could the fact that she was invited,
Michael,
be anything to do?
I mean, someone with a bit of a sense of humour and able to laugh at themselves would say. I imagine if I was Meghan Markle and I was asked that question, I'd be like, well, you know, it's probably got something to do with the fact I married a prince. Just maybe, you know, just to show little bit of self-awareness and, you know, the ability to laugh at oneself. That's what's endearing, not the sort of vacuous statements about how she wants to make people feel something.
Well, you won't have me disagreeing with that statement. I'm with you 100%. Know thyself, somebody said. Know thyself. And that's the key to it all. And there we see them, how very welcome they were. The crowds in Windsor Great Park were 20 deep cheering. And the media here was overwhelmingly in favour. You know, the breath of fresh air. There they are talking to people on the very few trips. I think that's out in Australia. Look at that. It's all going so well. And that's the sort of thing she's given up, because she had the greatest role of her life when she married Prince Harry. She became a royal duchess. Think of the good she could have done. Think of the people she could have reached. Think of the awareness that she could have promoted. Think of the thinking. Think of the feeling. Think of the touching. Think of all the things they're talking about in Hollywood. through Archwell Productions. They could have done it here under Windsor Productions.
Well, look how His Majesty the King spent his birthday. Very much a day of duty, not so much celebrations, but looking out for various different communities in the country, not least thinking about food poverty. So that is real sense of duty, I would argue. But I must fact check you just quickly. She was actually wearing $895 Aquazzura heels. Not the other designer brand that you mentioned.
Well, I'm sorry to have been rude to Manolo or used his name in vain. But I'm glad you picked up on that. Actually, that gives you a sense of priorities. We have to get it right. Get the wardrobe right, and then the world will be perfect.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Always fun. Former BBC correspondent Michael Cole. I'm very looking forward to another 10-part Spotify podcast series, if there ever is one, aren't you?